welcome again to another East County Voices. Boy, what a show we got for you guys tonight. Take it away, Frank. What do we got going on?
Hey, everybody. Good to see you all again out there. I can't see you, but good to see you and folks that will be tuning in on the recording. Yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about the big protests that are going to be happening on what is known as Flag Day here in the United States. I believe there's something like 1,600 plus going to be happening throughout the country on February 14th, this Saturday, next Saturday coming up. June 14th. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And I got two folks here with me that are helping to organize out here in East Contra Costa County here in Antioch. And there's going to be a March for Equal Rights and Democracy kind of combined with the No King's Day protest of the group Indivisible. And they're going to be taking a protest march and kind of a walk down Lone Tree Way coming up. So two folks here, Lee Ballesteros, regular person right here on my right, and Kathy King, and she works with Indivisible and she's the East County coordinator, and her and Lee are helping organize the march that's going to happen here in Antioch on Lone Tree Way. So they're here to tell us about it and kind of to reflect on why this work's important, what people could expect when they come out on the 14th. And we're just hoping that folks in Antioch and around the area, all you KPFA listeners, this is going to be broadcast also on KPFA. So I hope you all can participate if you are in East Contra Costa County and join with these folks and, make your voice heard, that your presence be known, that we are out here, especially here in East Contra Costa County. And we do want to be seen. We do want to be heard. So let me just say hello to my guest. We'll just start with Kathy on the far right. How you doing, Kathy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here.
And Lee, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Frank.
And Lee is one of my neighbors here in the neighborhood, also along with Carlos, living close by. So let me just ask you, first of all, we'll start with Kathy. What got you working with Indivisible and, building up to this big day that's going to be, as far as Indivisible is organizing No King's Day, and then out here you're combining with something that Lee was doing called the March for Equal Rights and Democracy. But what got you into this work? What got you to the point where you're out here organizing?
The results of the election in November got me involved. I had been involved before, but not with an organization. And I had heard of Indivisible. I had a friend in Chicago that was very involved in it during the 2017, 2018 period. And so I was familiar with it, and I Googled it and, where's an Indivisible, and found out there was one in Walnut Creek, looked it up, and lo and behold, they were having a member meeting. So the first meeting they had was going to be on Super Bowl Sunday. And I went, oh, geez, I already have plans. But I made it to the next one. And I was so inspired by what I heard there, all of the people that showed up. And they had sections for each area of the county. And there were 3 of us from East County. And I thought, oh, we need to be better represented. So I decided I was going to go back to East County and see if I could drum up some interest. So it started out with me calling my friends and asking them to call their friends that they knew were like-minded. And it just kind of went from there. I'm also a relatively new member of Marsh Creek Democrats, and we got some of those to join us as well. So we have a group of about 100 now, and we're putting on 2 protests a week in the East County, ranging from Pittsburgh out to Brentwood. So it was just kind of by accident, because I happened to go to a meeting and started organizing. They said, oh, you can be the coordinator for the East County. So here I am. I've got a title and everything.
All right. And then Lee, grab that mic on over to you. And, we're neighbors and we've been friends for a long time. Tell us, what's really got you into, organizing a march and a demonstration, because I watched it come up online and I was like, wow, Lee's really got to a point where,
Right.
This is like a lot of us right now, the right buttons have been pushed and things are just like, you can't just be silent or still on your couch, or
Right.
we're
So-
not just on your couch, but
My whole thing was that a while back, it was right before International Women's Day, and a friend online put up, "Hey, is Antioch going to have a women's march?" And I was absolutely flabbergasted at the negative response that he got to that. Antioch doesn't need any kind of march like that. We don't need that kind of thing in Antioch. You know, and I mean, there's regular naysayers, but this was really vehemently being put forward that this area doesn't need anything like that. And, you know, I think it does, because I think that being represented out here, we have a really strong community that is willing to go forward and say, these things are important to us. So I'm like, I'm good at organizing things. Let's do this. So I grabbed a couple of people and decided to do a women's march, but knew that it was going to have to be for, you know, later in the summer, because we wanted to be able to plan it. And then as the whole Orange Menace came around and was really trying to put a thumb on all of that, I'm like, okay, we need to stand up for democracy, not just women's rights, but all of these things that are being torn asunder by the current regime. So that's what put me onto making this happen.
And since you're one of the main organizers, I'm watching you right here. So if you want, you could look up there and we could be for the camera. Since you're one of the main organizers for next Saturday, June 14th, march and rally in Antioch, first of all, just tell folks what time and where to be. But then let's talk about what to expect, because I really appreciated your flyer with all the different flags. You could see for folks that are looking and watching, I put up my tribal flag in the background, and then the flag of Palestine, which is something I've really been fighting for in these last 2 years, especially. So tell me about what time, where to be, so people that are tuning in right now
Right,
and had to
gotcha.
cut out, know where to be and when to be there. And then also, what's kind of your idea behind it with the Rainbow Coalition of Flags on
Right.
Flag Day?
Thank you for catching that. Yeah, so it is June 14th. We are gathering at the former Regal Cinemas parking lot, which is 4250 Lone Tree Way. It is a giant parking lot, lots of parking for people. We're gathering there between 10 and 11 in the morning. We will have a couple of people starting us out, giving us just a little bit of motivation. Then we will be marching from the parking lot up Lone Tree to Williamson Ranch Park, which is 4969, I believe, Lone Tree Way. It's directly across from Walmart. So it's a 1.2 mile march. Some of it is shaded, most of it is full sun. Luckily, cross fingers, we are supposed to have good weather, not ridiculously scorchingly hot weather. And then we're going to have just a little bit of a rally, trying to make sure that we're not keeping people out in the full sun for too long. The flags that I put up on the flyer was really just, as I was creating the flyer, I was just grabbing from the news, you know, all of the things that, and I believe that words have meaning, and so therefore I won't say the name. I call it the Orange Menace. So when the Orange Menace really started going strongly against, you know, not standing up for the rights of people in Palestine, not standing up for the rights of people from Mexico, not standing up for the rights of people in Canada, that they were going to become a new state. You know, just all of the horrible BS that is constantly spoken. And then further down under the umbrella or the tree is the trans rights. As we know, a lot of rhetoric is constantly spewed about how they are a detriment to our community, whereas I prefer to look at everyone as a person. Go figure. And then right under that, the Black Lives Matter. Right under that is the women's flag. And so I think those three, the women's, Black Lives Matter, the trans flag, those three are the base of the tree to me. And then the rainbow of flags above it with the American flag, because you know what? This is our country. And I'm not a type of person that's, gung ho patriotism, but I also don't think that our flag should be co-opted by hate. So that's why our flag is at the top. And as far as what to expect, we haven't had so far much negativity thrown at us. We'd have a pretty solid number that are supposed to be coming in. So it's just going to be a peaceful march. What I've put on the posts are bring a sign, bring a flag, bring a friend. So if you want to bring a sign and make your statement, great. If you want to be a flag bearer and bring whatever flag you want to represent and wave, then absolutely do that. Bring a friend, let everybody know in Antioch and out here in East County that this is something that we are all absolutely willing to do, and to stand up and say that what is being done right now is not right.
Definitely 100% agreed on that. And again, that's the voice of Lee Ballesteros, my neighbor, regular person. And she's helping organize the March for Equal Rights and Democracy. And the person, for you video watchers all the way on my right, that's Kathy King, and she's the East County coordinator for Indivisible. And they're combining their No Kings Day rally and march with the March for Equal Rights and Democracy here in Antioch. Well, let me ask you one more question, Lee, before we go to Kathy, and this will be for you too. What is it lately? I know because the news is always changing. There's been the deportation of people with green cards or citizens, or even people that have questionable migration, to crazy detention camps in Louisiana, in El Salvador. There's been recently the stripping of the name of the Harvey milk. There's of course the continuing shipping the weapons to the genocide in Palestine. But what is it really that's got you so frustrated that, I mean, you could pick, like I said, from the bucket. But what is one thing that really stuck out to you that's got you irked, that is just like, dang, what, this is just, along with the other things, totally unacceptable to me?
The stripping of rights. So a couple of presidencies ago, they started saying that this is a nation of laws. And while I agree with that, I would rather point out that this is a nation of rights. This is a nation of liberties. And everyone deserves equal rights. Everyone deserves the liberties that are guaranteed to us under our Constitution. It's not called the Bill of Laws. It's called the Bill of Rights. We have rights that are absolutely being infringed upon every day. And it's not necessarily being pulled against me right now, but if it's being pulled against my neighbor, I'm next. And the fact that rights are being stripped from women left and right, starting, well, the ERA never passed, so I can't say that we've lost that because we never got it. I think that women's rights, being that we are half the population of this nation, if we could stand up and say women's rights, equal rights are what we're going for, that would be a large encompassing action of rights. And it would be beneficial for all of the marginalized groups, because all of those marginalized groups include women, whether it is ethnic, trans, any of that. Women are half of the population. And if we could stand up and say, as a woman, whether I agree with you or not, as women, we all deserve the same rights. We're people. People deserve the same rights as each other. So that's what really got me irked, was the fact that the rights of women are being stripped from us. And my mother started, in the 60s, was marching for rights for women. And I just have to stand up and say, this is not acceptable.
Definitely. And grab that mic on over to Kathy, and go ahead. You could look this way so everyone could see you, and you'll be on the mic. But yeah, what was it that got you, like I said to Lee, there's a whole bucket you could pick from, but what is the one
that's every day, so that you can't settle on just one and really work one. They keep coming out with more and more things that just shock us. I think kind of the underlying issue here, from my perspective, and everything kind of flows from that, is the power grab that the Orange Menace is making he's sucking power away from all branches of government. They're supposed to be co-equal branches of government, and Congress is just letting him run all over them. So once you give one person that much power, and I believe he is being manipulated by the tech bros and the billionaires to get what they want, which is tax breaks and doing away with all regulations that were put in place to protect us, protect consumers, to protect the environment. They don't want to deal with any of that because it inhibits their ability to make money quickly. So because he is consolidating his power, that's what I find very frightful, because once he has it, how do we get it back without a civil war? I mean, and I know a lot of people get really upset when you compare what's happening in the US with Nazi Germany, but it is eerily similar. I mean, it's like they took the playbook from Hitler and his folks, and then it's in Project 2025, and I have to hand it to them. They have implemented Project 2025, and in their first 3 or 4 months of being in office, they have done an extraordinarily immense amount of things, which is keeping everybody super busy. You don't know which one to focus on, and that's the point.
Yeah.
So it's a power grab.
Definitely. And I think when it gets concentrated into the executive branch like that, whether it's going to be another big battle to get Trump out, even if he does, let's say, transition peacefully to the next president, that power is going to stay with the next executive branch, because they don't usually relinquish the power that they gain. So whoever comes in next is going to also maintain that.
Unless we
extra
crash
grip.
and burn, which I hate to say it, but I kind of think we're going to have to, because we are so deeply divided. We are going to have to kind of rise from the ashes. And if that's the case, and we go back to actually honoring our Constitution with 3 co-equal branches of government, and the whole mood of the country shifts, because everything's a pendulum right now. It's swinging in favor of the far right, and maybe it'll swing back in favor of the left side. And if so, we can implement laws again and safeguards to not allow what has just happened to happen again. Because sometimes you don't know what to do to prevent something until it happens. And I don't know how, where you have to have a Congress with backbone, and apparently we don't have enough with the backbone.
Definitely.
But yeah.
I think there was an interview with Steve Bannon, of all people, that said that was part of their playbook, was to keep firing in so many
Yes.
directions that your head's spinning and you don't
Yes.
know what to focus on. Go ahead, Lee. You wanted to say something?
So I think that's one of the things why I've chosen a more narrow issue, is that as we each hone in on certain issues, we can do the greater thing. But this is where I'm focusing. This is where Kathy is focusing. This is where you are focusing. Because if we all try to do everything, we ain't going to do nothing.
We just get
So,
overwhelmed.
Yeah. So this, that's why even though it is, yes, democracy, but women's rights was something that I feel more, connected to. So that's why I chose it. But yeah, absolutely. There's too much. There's too many, too much, too fast.
Well, hang on to the mic, Lee, because I want to remind everybody, the voice you just heard was the voice of Lee Ballesteros, my neighbor, regular person. It's going to be the joke of the night. And then before that is Kathy King. She's the East County coordinator for Indivisible. And remind folks again, Lee, the date, time, and location of the March for Equal Rights and Democracy, which is combining with Indivisible's East County No King's Day March and rally.
Absolutely. We are actually endorsed by Women's March also. So we are trying to just get everybody out there. If you feel like protesting, absolutely come out. We're going to be starting our march at the Regal Cinema parking lot on Lone Tree Way. That's 4250 Lone Tree Way. We will be starting our march at 11 a.m. We're going to march about 1.2 miles up Lone Tree. We'll be stopping at Williamson Ranch Park and doing a little gathering there with some speakers. Bring a sign, bring a flag, bring a friend. And we are going to just let them know that Antioch and East County is standing up and saying, enough, we are going to resist.
And in addition to what Lee has organized with the march, Indivisible will have our enormous freeway signs up on the pedestrian bridge in Brentwood near Costco.
All right.
And we'll put them up. I think we're going to put them up at 10 in the morning and leave them up almost all day, which will require somebody to be there all day. But if anybody is going to show up for the march and wants to see what it's like to look at the traffic from the pedestrian bridge, come up and join us up there. So we're always waving to the cars.
Definitely. And hang on to the mic, Kathy. Where can folks find out more about Indivisible and the other protests that go on regularly with Indivisible here in East County?
Well, I put out a schedule. I just finalized it through July. And as I said earlier, we have 2 protests every week. One we call a commute hour protest, and we go to different places in East County where there's a lot of traffic and busy intersections. And we usually have enough people to be on all 4 corners. And so we'll wave our, we have a lot of flags too, and signs. And then we have one on Saturday, which is usually on an overpass, either the one in Pittsburgh on Railroad or back to the one in Brentwood. Or sometimes we do big sidewalk kind of a protest somewhere too. Oakley is a good place for Saturdays. So if you want to know more about how to join us, go to Indivisible Resistors ContraCosta.org. And they have a website, and from there they maintain a schedule of all. There's West County, there's East County, there's Central County, and they have all of that information. Plus they do track other kinds of things that are not Indivisible, because we all support each other in these efforts. It's no point in competing. We all have the same goal. So yeah, indivisible.org is the national, or if you want to go to Indivisible Resistors Contra Costa, or they may even have just the initials. I haven't tried it, but anyway, you can get your way to it just by going to indivisible.org. And I think they ask for like a zip code or something, and then you'll find the one closest to where you live. So
definitely. And for those listening on KPFA radio, we will post a link on our Facebook page. That's First Voice Media on Facebook. To the local Indivisible organization.
Oh, good.
And
you can give them my email address if they want it for, if you live in East County and you want to protest with us, I keep an email distribution list that gives you all the updates on the protests, and love to add you.
Definitely a way to organize. And grab the mic, Lee, and tell folks where to get more information about the upcoming March for Equal Rights and Democracy, which is merging with the Indivisible folks for the No Kings Day.
Right. So it's on June 14th at 11 a.m. You can sign up at mobilize.us. That is a site that lists all of the actions across the country, but you put in your zip code and it tells you where it's at. So mobilize.us, you can sign up for our action, which is called March for Equal Rights and Democracy. If you're on Facebook, you can also search the Facebook event, which has the same title, March for Equal Rights and Democracy. And through there, you can just hit, respond that you're going. We can do it through either one of those places, or you can just show up 4250 Lone Tree Way. We'll start the march 11 a.m. on June 14th.
Definitely bring a hat and some water. Although they're expecting not too hot weather, you'll definitely want to stay hydrated and in the shade.
And if you have mobility issues, don't sit at home and think you can't come. You can come to the beginning and maybe mill around a little bit with people. And when they start walking, get in your car and drive down to Williamson and park in the shade and wait until we get there. And then you can hear the speeches and, participate.
I guess I would like to close out with like some last words about why it's important for us to expand out here like this in East Contra Costa, because it's something I've been doing for lots of things, the fight against police violence out here. Things like trying to get a ceasefire resolution to the city council. Now I'm working on ethical investment and stuff like that. But as far as like protests and actions, it's now branched out into Walnut Creek, Lafayette, but most of the time you got to go to Oakland or San Francisco or
yeah.
Richmond. So we'll start with you since you got the mic, Kathy. Why is it important to expand out here into East Contra Costa and to give people this chance without having to travel?
Well, that was the main purpose, is that more people will get involved if they don't have to drive 45 minutes to get there, or further if they're going into San Francisco. And so a lot of the people that are now protesting would never have considered going twice a week into Walnut Creek, but they'll show up twice a week out here. Plus, people out here need to see the other side of the coin. I think the opposition has been very vocal during the election period, during the summer and whatnot, but kind of our side was a little bit more quiet. And now we're finding our voices and we're finding our purpose. So I'm hoping we're giving people in East County a view that they are not alone. If they also oppose what is going on in DC, they're not alone. There's a lot of us out there, and we're willing to sacrifice our time to make those views known and to have our voices heard.
Lee, go ahead and grab the mic. And yeah, why is it important to expand out here into East County?
I'm just a regular person.
So we heard.
Word has it. And it really is regular people. That's what this is. I just met Kathy. I've known Frank forever, but I just met Kathy. I'm meeting these people. I know that these people are like-minded. I want everyone to know that there are people out there that are willing to stand up, but you don't have to drive to San Francisco. So having it be local and just regular people, you know, is what it's all about. Get out there, shake a sign, shake a flag, feel good about that we're doing something, and let your community know that we are standing up for it.
Definitely. All right. Again, that was the voice of my neighbor, regular person, Lee Ballesteros, from right here in Antioch. And then next to her on the right is Kathy King. She's the East County coordinator for Indivisible. And they are talking about where we're going to be on June 14th, which is 2 Saturdays from now. And that's going to be, one more time, Lee.
At 4250 Lone Tree Way, the old Regal Cinema parking lot is where we're starting the march. We're marching all the way up Lone Tree, 1.2 miles to Williamson Ranch Park, and having a little get-together, sign shaken right there at Williamson Ranch.
Yeah. All right. And for all the inside jokers, everyone knows that's my favorite park. Hey. All right. Well, all right, Lee. And
thank you so much, Frank.
Kathy.
We really appreciate this. Carlos, thank you very much for having us on tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys for being on the show, neighbors.
Yeah. I'm going to cut off my camera for a moment, and unless you guys want to stick around, but you're free to go. They've been busy all day, so I'll say goodbye to them, and I'll come back in just a couple minutes and join the conversation with you all. Thanks for hosting, Carlos. We appreciate it. And we'll be right back here on East County Voices.
Yes. Be well. See you soon.
Thank you.
How amazing was that? Oh my gosh. I love it. I love our activist community. Oh my gosh. I'm excited for our people because really it's like from all, it's just, there's always like one thing after another, and just their whole messaging of uniting together and having, we have different fights, but let's come together and let's keep pushing. How are you guys? Hi, Nicole.
Good.
Hi,
Hi, Patty.
Happy Wednesday. Look at our Antioch East Contra Costa County activists. Oh, man. Hey, and at the school board, one of the last school board meetings, there was a lot of teachers speaking up.
Nice.
And
I love it.
a lot of parents that I had never seen before. And I was like, all right, there's people, I mean, because we went through some shit, excuse my language, in Antioch, Contra Costa County, across the nation, but Antioch specifically. Like, we're talking greedy people that held up positions in the city and in the school district for many years. We're
Mhm.
talking money. Like there was in both meetings, both the city and the school board, I remember them talking about positions that were getting paid for, like they were getting paid for as if somebody was there, but there was nobody physically there.
Mhm. That's
But
embezzlement.
okay, that's what, okay. And
Because you're stealing.
they brushed over it. But
Yeah.
I remember, y'all probably remember too.
I
Mhm.
remember that.
And now all of a sudden, the city of Antioch is opening all these positions. Oh, that's cool because we're a big city, and in order to function, we need to have people doing the work
Right.
in the
Real people.
school. What say again?
Real people.
Right.
Real ethical people.
Actual, yeah.
Because I don't even know whatever happened with the Antioch bully to our community out there. Google
Which one?
search. Oh, I know, right? The one that there was 14 episodes on by NBC. NBC Bay Area News came through and covered like start to finish. And what was the outcome? The superintendent got fired. Her friends say she stepped down or retired. No, she was
Yeah.
not evaluated for how long? And then
Right.
allowed her friend to bully people in the school district because that's how they get down. These are bullies. But then
Right.
how was he their private business that was handed down from his dad, who was on Megan's list or Sarah, one of those lists for pedophiles,
Yes.
handed down his business to his son. So then his son got the contract, but then his son was also on staff overseeing a $2 billion budget. Was it 2 million, 2 billion? It was a lot of money.
Too much.
And a lot of the people, they were like, well, there's things around the property that were not getting maintained. Like, what are you getting paid for? To go put your colleagues' desks on a rooftop?
Mhm.
That's what they were doing with their free time.
Mhm.
What happened with him? Kenneth Turnage. What happened to Kenneth
I
Turnage?
know, right? It's like he was on leave,
Using
and then
resources,
it's like
too.
poof, you just never heard anything. Like,
And if anybody knows, let us know. We want to know, because the last I heard at the school district, there was a meeting where they said that he was advised to appeal whatever was charged or whatever. But yeah, so if anybody, go online, Google search Antioch local bully Kenneth Turnage, just Google it. And if
how do
you
you
know
appeal
anyone,
that? I appeal that I was a bully and I put someone's desk on the roof. I mean, it was documented proof. It was on the news. It's not like you could say you didn't do it because you did. So how do you appeal that? Well, I'm sorry, I was a sack of crap and I did that. So yeah, no, thank you.
mm-hmm. And they're all the same group. It's the same group of people that from the very beginning, since 2020, and there was even before that. I wonder if anybody from I know Frank's been fighting this for a long time, and Miss Catherine Wade for a long time. But maybe it was 2020 that they all showed their faces. I don't know. I remember the first time I ran into him, he snatched a sign, a poster that someone gave me to give to somebody else to hand off. And so when I went back, she's like, "Oh, sorry, there's this guy like in a lime green shirt," and he snatched the sign and tore it up. And she told me his name, and I was like, dang, like that's kind of like violent, Oh, he's the one that said he would pay the dump fees to have
Yes.
our DA Becton dumped in. I'm gonna quote him.
Yep,
I'll pay the dump fees if the Republic Services would go and pick her up from her home and dump her body in a landfill.
Mm-hmm. And the
He
other
had
one, was it the steak dinner or whatever, or they'll bury them in the yard and all that? It was a bunch of stuff. It was a bunch of stuff.
It's scary. This should be taken very seriously.
Yeah, it should.
These are threats. These are people. Frank has been assaulted.
Yes.
Like we're lucky that Frank's alive today.
Yeah. And just to be clear, because that Lydia Robles girl, even though she knows she's guilty of harming children, keeps trying to say that it's Rachel's fault, that whatever may be happening to her because she didn't want to take accountability, and we can't control what people online do, but you know what you did. So had you just been accountable instead of acting an ass, then it would never have been put online. And again, and I'm going to say it again because Rachelle has said it over and over. She said it on her post. She said it on TV. She said it in court. She does not want her harmed. No one is asking for anyone to be harmed. No one should be getting death threats from anyone. Nobody. We don't condone that. We don't tell anybody to do that. We do not, what is it? I don't know. I don't even know what word I'm trying to say, but it is not something that anybody is saying. So no, you guys don't need to give anybody death threats because that is not acceptable.
Who's getting death threats? I'm sorry, I'm missing something.
She claims that she's getting death threats. We don't know that, but that's what she was trying to say, that because it was out there that, you know, she's getting death threats. Well, you're harming children. So, you know, some people take that really seriously. Unfortunately, KinderCare doesn't, but some people do. So maybe you shouldn't harm children, and maybe you should apologize instead of saying you didn't do it, because then people will respect you.
And if people don't speak up, then investigations don't happen. Exactly. If people don't speak up, then it just continues under the radar like nothing ever happened. Kind of like how the city of Antioch like functioned for a very long time.
Right.
I wonder how much those that retired in the 90s get in a pension. Like, I wonder how much money they make.
That should be given back.
There needs to be a refund. There's a I mean, I've been saying that for how long. We need a refund. Frank, we need a refund.
Yeah, she has. She says that all school board meetings all the time.
How much money in settlements that were paid to the victims, and then how much money was embezzled?
Right.
Like, how many files did they delete? Like, I hope that the DOJ and FBI or whatever really did a thorough investigation into computer systems. And like, for instance, when what's his name got put on leave, there was a fearful staff member that said one of the employees, she's always there, if Ibarra, her last name's Ibarra, she let him on the property. He came into his office, took like a big box of something, and then left when he was already on administrative leave. What was in that box? The guy that said he was going to pay the dump fees to dump our district attorney, who's currently getting recalled, into a landfill. What was in his box? Like,
but here's what I find crazy. Your dad's a whole pedophile. You don't have no business being around children.
Or the business being handed down.
Hello? And that's exposing children to a pedophile, because at any time he might come try to visit you. So I'm a little confused as you want to kill the DA that's done nothing wrong but her job, but you don't feel there's anything wrong with your father.
Well, he didn't say kill. He said he would pay the dump fees.
If you're dumping, hey, you ain't just dumping somebody.
It's a violent It's a violent threat. It's a statement. It's a threat.
It's a threat.
And it's scary. And this shit, again, needs to be taken seriously. Look at what happened to there were some veterans or some military members in Washington or something that they're like white nationalists, that there was a like raid on their homes or something. Mm-hmm. And so they had, I don't know if you guys heard about that, but there was some like military members that there was a big theft or something, and the criminal investigative department went in, and there was a $5,000 bail that they asked for, but then the prosecution team raised it up to $500,000. I don't know if they got that, but if they do, like if they got that much money and that much comfort in stolen military weapons and gear and doing these kinds of like illegal,
bail should have been denied.
That's domestic terrorism. I don't know why it doesn't get classified as domestic terrorism.
And I don't know if you had to do this, but when I was in boot camp, we had to go actually guard the armory, because they didn't want, civilians sneaking on and stealing and stuff. And even when we went on bivouac, remember when you go on bivouac, you have to sleep with your M16, literally. Like you have to like wrap it around your body to make sure because people can sneak on when you're out there in the tent and like try to take your weapon from you.
Yeah.
So like when we went, our weapon had to be on us all the time when we were on bivouac, all the time. And then there were moments where we would have to guard the, where we keep all the ammo at, because people would try to sneak onto the base, steal stuff. This was in Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, something happened. I mean, there's still a lot of accountability, but obviously not in whatever arms room they were at. And I hope there's an even more thorough investigation as to how they got away with
because that's
having
crazy.
access and having that in their spaces. There was a picture of Hitler. They were idealizing Hitler. They had him in a frame, and they had the two Nazi flags. Like that is
not Germany. First of all, this is not Germany. This is America. We got our own racists here. We don't need to add extra racism on top of the racism we already have. And the other crazy thing is, these fools followed Hitler, and he wasn't even blonde and blue-eyed, but yet he made blonde and blue-eyed people think they were superior. It's the craziest thing in the world. So you're following a man that doesn't even look like you, who got you hating everybody else that doesn't look like you. And you idiots are still out here idolizing. Racism is such an evil, wicked sickness. It's in these people's DNA, in their DNA. And they just really, some of them can't help themselves. And it's sad. Just like they're sad about a damn plantation burning down. So you don't care about the atrocities. You don't care about what happened to us. But somehow this structure burning down is so sad. And we're supposed to cry tears. Well, boo-hoo. No one's crying. Sorry. Not bad.
It's
all those bodies were freed. All those ancestors were freed that's been trapped there.
Handed down. The evil handed down to these racist ass. Because the pain and the trauma, that's a residual energy, and but also what's taught at home and what's passed on. It's just sick and disgusting. When I saw those pictures,
let's go have a wedding on a plantation. And
when I saw the pictures of and the different depictions of celebrating, like it put me like, it makes me smile to see that. I'm like, oh.
My favorite one is the girl that's sleeping with burning. Let's listen to this white noise, and it's the burning in the back, and it actually is soothing. It's crazy. It's soothing. Put it on and go to sleep.
Excuse me.
Well,
Frank, what you got?
I felt like I wanted to kind of ask you all. I wanted to get my guests out because they've been busy all day, but I wanted to ask you all, like, what's got you so frustrated by what's going on with the Trump administration that you would hit the streets? Because I feel like I've met a lot of people and I've heard a lot of stories that a lot of the folks that are on the streets and at some of these protests my past guests were talking about have actually never been to a protest like that before, or never been on the streets like that before. So I guess I would just ask you guys the same thing. I know, Patty, I've seen you, and Nicole, I've seen you at City Hall, on street corners, out front of KinderCare. But what is it about this Trump administration that would get you, that's got you angry enough to be, on the streets?
Well, you know me. Everything.
I got two things. What you got, Miss Nicole? Oh, everything. Okay.
I'm like everything. Him being
right.
president is the first problem. He just even right now, like it's so much. It's not even. I can't even say it all. But he just shut down Job Corps, and you guys know that's a personal hit on us because you know the work we were doing with those babies.
We sure do.
That is a whole. That right there is just on top of all the other things. Like, come on. You're just looking for stuff every day. Let's dig up and let's see what we can do today to screw over everybody in America.
Tell folks a little bit, what is the Job Corps? What did it do, and what's about to happen?
So Job Corps, they shut it down. Unfortunately,
what is Job Corps? What does it do for people or for kids?
So Job Corps is a place where children can go starting at age 18. Say you didn't do well in school and you decided I want to take a different path, or I do want to finish school. but it's going to take too long to get my credits and all these things. So I can go to Job Corps, I can graduate, I can get job training, I can get housing, I can get paid, I can get all these life skills and do all these things, go to school for culinary, whatever it is my heart desires, I can go to Job Corps and I can get that, and I can have somewhere to live, money in my pocket, all these things that's going to progress me forward instead of holding me back in life. So basically it's a foot up in the world, right? And it's something that's very, very helpful and very much needed. And for you to snatch that away from those babies, especially just out of the blue, and you're, taking away jobs from people on top of it. So you're hurting so many people at one time that it's devastating.
And it wasn't even just saying that we're going to shut this down. They literally gave them like 2 weeks to get out.
And
right?
They didn't even really do that. That was a lie. It was supposed to supposedly be the end of the month, but those babies are already gone. Treasure Island's already gone. People in other states, like it's already done. It's already done.
Wow.
I got two. Really, like two that really get me going. Three.
Really everything. But
It's everything. Everything. Minus his exposure and emboldening a lot of racists and white supremacists. So I'm thankful for that, because now they're kind of easily like identifiable. So like I'll know to like stay away for my own safety, depending on where I'm at. But you just never know. Not everyone's the same. But overall, what we've been watching since the January 6th insurrectionists and them shitting and defecating in the hallways and all that whole thing, and just like that should have been
people, according to him.
Okay, yeah, no. But the fact that they want to dismantle the civil rights division in the Department of Justice to hold police officers accountable, something that many people like, there's no denying the unequal, the racially profiled, the high rate of Black and brown, more Black being killed, murdered, stalked, harassed. We will never know. Like we had somebody in our community saying that he wants cadaver dogs on the Antioch Police Department and on the properties around. Like, this is very serious. Like, for them to stop those accountability, like what we had going, that shit's really scary. That's one. And the other thing is, like, I used to have a therapist consistent every like 2 weeks through the VA. And then that got cut, like, I don't know, like 4 months ago. And it's been rough. Like, I have a cool community and people to talk to, but damn, like I reached out, like I need to reestablish my mental health therapy, like that. And that, not just me, but I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there that suffer from PTSD and coming back from the war and seeing a lot of death or military sexual trauma, all of that. And then to gut the VA, like healthcare system, like gutting, like the community care that we had, it's like, it's a slap in the face.
It is.
And then the Department of Education, that today, like I read through an article, if that was verbatim, if that was really said, where they had this chair that doesn't know about Ruby Bridges or doesn't know where the United States. Oh my God. Ugh. I couldn't even.
But we're DEI, y'all. We're DEI. We are not qualified.
Oh my God. But though, I feel like those are. Oh, and then if he pardons Diddy, if that's a real thing, like I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, he was Epstein's
home. They're both sexual predators. So
right.
I think that's the thing that gets me the most. Even if you're racist, I'm trying to understand what in your pea mind makes you accept a man that you know is a convicted child molester and a convicted rapist. So somehow, especially as a woman, somehow that's okay because he's racist. So you just excuse everything else. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, you're gonna send your kid over there with him? Because I'm confused. What is it about this man that could possibly make any normal, decent human being support him. I cannot for the life of me.
I wonder how my Hispanic family that voted for him feel seeing these families broken apart, being arrested, kids being put in handcuffs and zip ties.
Mhm.
How cruel and trauma. It's intentional trauma. It's
Yeah.
an intentional traumatic event that
Mhm.
they're effectively conducting. It's really
Yeah.
fucking crazy. But
It is.
there's good people in this world like you all, you know, like we just gotta, and I have faith in the higher power, and a lot of these demons will have to be held accountable either
Mhm.
here or after. So
Aw.
yeah.
I didn't see the. I'm sorry. I'm looking at. Thank you. The artwork in the back. Thank you. Malaysia painted that. Too bad you can't really see it.
Ooh.
It doesn't do it justice, even though the sun is on in my room now. How you guys like? My son-in-law said my room was dark, so I think it's bright now, right?
It's beautiful. You light up the room, queen. You light it
Thank
up.
you so much. But yeah, Cammie said the foster youth that aged out of the foster system, like it just, hey Rena, we love you too. Yeah, these people are demons, and they don't understand that Satan is their dad, and they're gonna meet him, and that's the sad part, because they think they're right and they're very, very, very wrong, and it's not gonna be nice and
So
happy like
sad.
we think it's
I
gonna be.
I wish the aliens would just help us already. Can they just come and help us? We can work together. Like they could put some technology. We can really, really get it together. Maybe clean the oceans together with their technology and ours, man. The aliens just need to fucking step up and step in before this gets wild.
And then Elon's crazy ass is on the out, so we can't even depend on that clown to build a rocket ship to take them all to the moon anymore. So
They wouldn't even make it to the moon. That shit would
I
probably
know.
like, explode before.
I know. Oh gosh. Like,
Frank,
just go
what gets
away
you
and leave us
going?
all alone.
Where's your heart at? What's getting you going with this?
I guess the number one thing is that he continues to send the weapons and the funds to Israel to
Mhm.
commit the genocide over there, because now the very conservative estimate is 50,000 children have been killed,
Mm.
and it's the capital of children to be to lose limbs, where like I forgot the percentage numbers, but every other child, it seems like, is missing an arm or a leg, and in many cases both arms or legs.
Mm.
And so that's really got me frustrated that he continues, and that he wants to he has his plan for Gaza to be
Mhm.
to move 1 million plus people out, the people that live there. If you just imagine moving like Contra Costa County, all the people in Contra Costa County out of Contra Costa County, and replacing it with like a whites only Jewish state. That's what they're doing.
To
And
make it into
so,
a tourist area too. I remember hearing
oh yeah, and then so he wanted to make the Riviera on the ocean, because if you
Yeah,
ever
that.
seen the way
Yeah.
Palestine is shaped in the map, it goes down their whole I believe it's their whole west coast is a big ocean waterfront, and it's very beautiful. It's diverse ocean life. So that's the number one thing. And then of course seeing just moving downhill from there. If you're speaking out about Palestine, he's been arresting the students, abducting
Yep.
them off the streets,
Mhm.
All that.
committed nothing but thought crimes, and speaking for their First Amendment rights, and putting them in actual detention camps, and they haven't even committed the crime. Also, the arresting and the ripping apart of the immigrants and the families, especially these last couple of weeks. We saw them here in Concord arresting a man that was actually going to his legalization hearing.
Yes.
So they've been posting up at the courts in Concord, Sacramento,
Mhm.
San Francisco, at the immigration courts, and then waiting outside. And in some cases, as in the interview I did, getting text messages from the inside that they just dismissed their case, which means they could be picked up,
Yes. Oh.
and to the ICE officers outside. And so they watch for the person to come out, and then they detain them.
That's
um,
not okay.
Yeah, and then sending people without any due process
Mhm.
to El Salvador prison, those crazy prisons in El Salvador, because without due process, you're losing the whole point of being able to say, but for one thing, I believe it's wrong no matter who you are, whether you're a gang member or not. You should
Right.
have to go to court and have your day in court. But if that's what they're saying they're taking, and they're taking the worst of the worst and shipping
Right.
them off, you get picked up in that and you're not one of them. You should have the due process to say, hey, I'm not in the category you're saying. But what they're doing with that Alien Enemies Act is they're stripping people of due process. So you get picked up. It could be on an assumption. It could be on an accusation. It could be in the company that you happen to be next to. Maybe you weren't even with them, but you're on the same corner. If you got picked up, you don't get a chance to prove that you belong. And you could be sent there when you should just be going home to your parents down the street. So that's really got me as well. And then, of course, as my guest earlier said, kind of the stripping away of our democracy and our processes. I come from like 2 points in my mind. As a California Indian, I'm totally against all our systems. In my mind, I'm like, every time we talk about like the founding fathers or the Bill of Rights, I'm thinking like my dad's people weren't even included in all that.
Right.
If they were included, they were talking about being subjugated and cut out. So I have my issues, but I'll put that aside. And so seeing the democracy that we do have, which enables me to fight to bring back, my dad's traditional homelands, and enables me to fight for Native American rights, that democracy that we're clinging to, I feel like being stripped away is also a big one. More consolidation to the executive branch where the president makes the decisions, bypassing Congress, not listening to the Supreme Court, which quotation Supreme, bypassing those rules. They exported that dude to the prison in El Salvador, Alberto Garcia Kilmar. I can't remember his name, but and the Supreme Court said bring him back. They still haven't even brought him back, and they're not going to. They're not going to.
No.
And so that kind of stuff really frustrates me. The masked men picking up people off the streets and just taking them away. This is getting scary times, and especially when we are conflating anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism, because you should be able to criticize any country, your own country. That's what we have here. We're supposed to criticize our country so we can keep the checks and balances. And if we can't criticize Israel without being called anti-Semitic, even though they're committing a genocide on another people, the Palestinian people, that's getting scary too. And we're seeing, like I mentioned earlier, those college students who are in detention camps for speaking out against the genocide. I don't know if you all follow Greta Thunberg or Thunberg.
Yes, praying for that girl, praying for that young woman.
So she's on a boat right now trying to float because Israel will not even let people fish off the coast of Palestine for food. You can't float in any blue jeans, any medicine, any food. So there's a group of activists right now that are on a second boat because they were floating in to Gaza from Malta, and Israel, all signs point to Israel, shot at their boat with drones, and they had to turn back. They got a new boat now, and they're sailing again, and they're trying to go into Gaza and block the naval, bypass the naval blockade. And the guy from the Lindsey Graham, our guy in the senator, he said, "I hope Greta and her friends can swim." In an official post, in an official government post.
It's crazy to me that some people who are first of all, they stole our identity. I'm sorry. That's number one. So people who stole somebody's identity, number one, that's the problem for me right there. And always hollering about racism and somebody doing something to you, but you're the most racist people. And you just think it's okay to just try to wipe out Palestinians because you don't want them there. You don't belong there. You don't belong there. So how dare you? And then you want somebody to care about you, but yet you're literally killing off people for no reason, children, everything. And don't matter, no regard, celebrating it. It's just like out here when they were lynching us and having picnics and whatnot. Like, what is wrong with you people? And you think that's okay? And people are supposed to be behind you and not say anything about it.
And when the numbers actually come out, we're going to see the more generous, I don't know if that's the right word, the more not conservative numbers. They're up to 200,000, 250,000 dead.
No.
And right now, the official death toll, I don't even remember what it's at, 75,000. It's just insane to me. And I see we're getting close to our 9 o'clock hour. I want to remind folks, Carlos, if you could throw up, if you're still here with us, could throw up that flyer that if folks heard the first half of the show, if you're fed up with the government and you want to do something about it, check out the March for Equal Rights and Democracy. That's going to be not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. And they're going to meet up at the old Regal Cinema parking lot on Lone Tree Way at 11 a.m. And they're going to march 1 mile, 1.2 miles, not too bad, to my favorite park, Williamson Ranch Park. And they're going to have a small rally there at Williamson Ranch Park. And as my friend and neighbor Lee said, bring a flag, bring a sign, bring a friend. And you could see all the flags that she's put up. And if you remember what she said, she just took the flag straight from the news. What she heard was being stepped on by the administration, by our flag on the top. She says, bring those flags because we're all part of this fabric here, all of us. So thank you for throwing that up, Carlos. I will be at that event. I'd like to say hi to folks. Come on out and be a part of that if you would.
This is America, where you can speak up for now, unless those rights are taken away, which I read somewhere, but no, that's not happening. No. Exercise your right to go protest and speak up. Get on that microphone. Don't be afraid of your own voices. People out there, shout out to all of our activists and families and everyday people finding their voices. Come to these community spaces.
There's the two flags I'll be flying, the Palestine flag, and that's the flag of my tribe in the right here, the Liseño Rincon Liseño tribe, also known as Payam Kawichum, people of the West. Hey. All right, I see Carlos is back. Hey, thanks everybody for being part of East County Voices tonight. If you see the video, share it with your friends. I'll let Carlos do his outro. Like,
I have something
what is
before
it?
We go.
Like, share, and something. Go ahead, Nicole. You got something you wanted to not forget?
I do. I want to first say I don't know how criminals have the audacity to be calling people criminals, because everybody running this clown show is a criminal and should be in jail. So you can't be a criminal talking about you're the party of law and order when you're not even law and order your own self. That's number one. And then on that note, we're going to end with a happy note, and happy birthday, Gavin. Our baby.
Happy birthday, Gavin.
Woo, woo.
Our intern / co-host, our other host, our young life, our leading
young
you.
life. Yes. So everybody send a shout out to Gavin. It's his birthday today. And thank you for tuning in as always.
That's right. Couldn't have said it better myself. Go ahead and close us out, Nicole.
No, you go on, Carlos.
This is your big moment, Carlos. This is your big time.
Well, thank you all for tuning in again. Thank you all for being faithful, watching, commenting. We can't do it without you guys, you know. And as you know, we're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. YouTube, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, share. All that helps us out so much, you know. It helps the algorithm and everybody else spread out so everybody knows who we are and what's happening in, you know, in the East County over here. So again, want to thank y'all and thank you guys, Nicole, Miss Patty. We got Frank.
Thank you.
Frank's guest that came on. You know, I mean,
Lee and
it's a lot of time to do these events. You know, and this is time from our lives. You know, so if you guys can make it out, you know, we'd love to have you guys out there. So with that, I'd like to say good night, everybody. Peace, love, and we'll see you next time.
Peace, love, and elbow grease.
See you next week.
Elbow grease.